Hello, my name is Kelly Bluin. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Thank you for joining me for day 16 of the Fragment of Your Imagination Challenge. I have created these free downloads. They are available in the description of this video if you would like them. Otherwise, you can just draw these fragments on whatever you are working in. All right, so today is day 16 and we're doing our fragment inside these little seed pods. Let me show you what this one is called. Here we go, 16. A play on the famous Shakespearean quote, "Why for Hearthou?" So why for is a Zentangle pattern, and then Hearthou is a variation of it. And if you click on this, if you go to the 7 Forests, 5 Rivers Challenge page on Facebook, and you get their packet, and you click on Hearthou, you can see gorgeous work by Debbie New, who created this, and she created it in honor of a fellow CZT who has passed away. And it is a beautiful tribute and a beautiful work of art, so I recommend you checking that out. Okay, as you can see here, this is what it looks like. It's a lot of little lines in a small area, so we're going to work hard today and make this beautiful. All right, before we start, I want to do it on some scrap paper so I can show you what it looks like outside of the fragment. Okay, draw a little bit of an angle here. So we start with these two curved shapes that bend towards each other. And then it has this rounded part here and here. And then we're going to do a little aura, but it starts by touching and then coming out just a little bit and making that little border. And then we're going to imagine this coming up here, curling down, curling in a little bit, and then going over. And what that does is gives this illusion, when I do some shading, that this little ribbon kind of goes up and then it flips, and then this is kind of that underside of it. Does that make sense? So like if I went like this, and then I put a line here and here, see how that looks like the underside is flipped over like it's a ribbon. So that's the illusion we're going for. And then on their little fragment they did here, they didn't even really focus on that. They just did this little curve and went over. Okay, so however you do it is just fine. I just wanted to show you that effect we're going for. So this one would curve, and then it'd have a line coming over here as if this part was like flipping under. Okay, then there's some more decorations. All right, so that's what we are going to try to fit in this little tiny seed pod area. I'm just grateful we're not doing it in this one because we'd have to make it 6 times and that feels overwhelming right now. I think 4 will be perfect. Okay, so we're zoomed in a bit. I'm gonna start with those 2 curves, and I'm gonna start about 2/3 of the way up, and I'm gonna curve down towards the bottom like that. So 2 little curves. And then I'm going to curl this one around, and I think I'll just give it like a little tip up like that. That might be the easiest way to do this. And then we're going to take this line and go over, and then also the bottom of this, and we're going to go over. So this one over and the bottom one over. Then I'm going to come up here and give this a little tiny aura on each side. Then inside this area here, I'm going to do a little heart. And I'm going to make it go as deep down into that little crevice as I can. And then a little V shape that turns into a diamond. All right, how was that? Was that tricky? Was that okay? I'm going to drag my computer over here again just because I want you to see some of her artwork with this. Okay. I have to think of a better way to do this that doesn't have the big reflection. Okay, but you see how she starts right here and curls under, adds a little heart, adds a little diamond. That is basically the whole tangle. Then she has different variations where she does it more of a circle and kind of a fun heart like that with all the little angles of like a cut gem. And then look over here, look at these that she does. Oh, got a little brighter. Isn't that beautiful? And then she does some as like a mandala. So it's still that same shape. You can really see that. I guess she adds this little aura here that maybe we need to do as well. But so beautiful. Okay, I'm going to add that little aura. She did that right inside here. Okay, I like that. I'm also going to do a little diamond down here, and I'm going to ink that in. I think I'm going to ink in the top one as well. Okay, I'm going to turn my paper and try it again. Are you ready? Okay, we're going to do those curves that go about a third of the way, or a third of the way down, 2/3 of the way up. And I make those two curves that go in towards each other. I didn't make that one very even, and that's okay. Then I'm going to do this little curl around there and curl around here. And then we go from the bottom of that curl and over, and the top of that spot and over. Bottom of the curl and over, and over. Okay, then I'm going to aura these two. And add that tiny little aura over here, which is really small, but I kind of like that little detail. Add in a little heart, tucking down into there, and then that diamond shape going right up towards the top. And I'm going to do a little diamond down here as well. All right, let's turn and do this again. Curve down, curve down. Curl those around. Bottom comes over, bottom comes over, and the top of that little line comes over. Aura, aura, tiny little auras in here. Heart, diamond, up to the top, and a diamond on the bottom. Okay, one more. Are you ready for this? Curve. And I like how my curves are just sort of naturally lining up with the previous tangle. A little curl. Make that line come over. I kind of make mine go at an angle down a little bit, but it can also go just sort of straight across. And then from the top of that curl, add a small aura and that little aura inside. Put in a little heart and a little diamond at the top. And then that kind of a half diamond down at the bottom. I'm going to connect all of these diamonds at the bottom and just make it this pretty little center. Okay, that was a lot of line work and a lot of little auras, and I hope that you are seeing this little flip of that shape. I think it's so beautiful and what a fun effect. Okay, because you know I can't just end here, I want to do a little bit more out in these corners, and I really want to play with this little flipped shape. I could do it as a double out here, but I think I'm just going to do it as a single, and let's just see how that works. So I'm going to come from here and I'm going to scoop out and give a curve. I'm going to go down and down. Give a little aura and a little aura inside. And then to balance it out, I'm just going to come up here and do a little curl and maybe a curl this way. I'm going to do another one of those down here. So I'm going to do a big curve and a curl. And I go from that, it's the bottom of that little bump, but you know, at this angle, it looks like the top. Do an aura towards the edge, and then an aura in here. Do a little curl coming out this way, and maybe one over here. Now another way to embellish this is to utilize another shape or tangle pattern that we did in here. So we could do some diamonds or some hearts. So I'm going to nestle one right in here. I think I'm going to do a heart. I could even do a little diamond on top just to make it match. And I'm going to do a heart this way as well, and a little diamond. But you could have just done a diamond, or you could do more of those spirals. I like how that looks. Okay, again, such a fun example of taking a fragment or taking a tangle, making it into a fragment, and then putting them together to see what kind of new pattern comes out. I just wrote all over my tile. That's okay, it looks beautiful. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of shading and then I will be done. All right, I've got my little graphite pencil and my little blending tool. I'm going to go inside this fragment and I'm going to go on this outer edge, that first little line that I made. I'm going to follow it all the way up into that little ribbon area. Same on this side. I'm going right along that edge and right up inside. Let's see what that does when I soften it. Kind of pull it into that little area in there. Beautiful. I do this one. I'm going to come up that side and right into that inside area. And I'm going to go ahead and do that on each one. I like pushing it all around inside that area when I get up there. Okay, then I can do this one here and this one here. These are a little bit larger. And then the last thing I'm going to do, these look really flat to me, so I'm going to go around the outside edge of each seed shape and just give it a tiny shadow. And I soften that right against that line and push the graphite away from the line just a little bit. And it gives a little bit of a shadow. Okay. That was a lot of work, but it's so beautiful. That was Hearthou I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.